Hi, I'm back, and I'm going to make today a recipe from my Every Plate dinner box that I reviewed and opened yesterday. And the one that I'm going to do today is called Gooey Stuffed Pork Burgers with barbecue onions and crispy potato wedges. And on the front of the card, it shows you all the ingredients that you need to get out ahead of time. And for new cooks, I do recommend you get everything out ahead of time. Read the card in its entirety from start to finish before you start, so you know what's coming. And it says to preheat the oven to 450, which I'm doing. Wash and dry all produce, which I've done. And I also chopped my potatoes to save time right here. And we're going to slice the onion now. So you put the onion in half, peel it, and then just put it down and slice it in these half moons, thinly like this. And I'll pause for a minute and come back. Okay, so I've sliced my onions in half moons, and the recipe card says to first deal with the potatoes, to salt and pepper them, and put a large drizzle of olive oil on there. And then I have these gloves, but if you don't have gloves, then you can just go ahead and use your hands. You'll just have to wash them a lot more. So we're going to scoop these together and spread the salt and pepper and the oil evenly pretty much over the potatoes. And then put them in a single layer. And we're going to put them in the oven with the clean hand. I'll open the door. And then I'll set my timer. It says 25 minutes. Alright, while that's going, and for the half moon onions, we're going to caramelize these onions, which I made with a different recipe last week. Oh my God, they were so good. So I'm glad there's a large onion here for me to do this. So I'll put my sliced onions in a pan. And it also says salt, pepper with a large drizzle of oil. So I'll take my glove off on that. And some salt. Which the salt helps them cook down faster. It draws the water out of them. A couple turns of pepper. I'll use my other glove and just, before it gets hot, kind of break up the onions and mix up all the oil and pepper that I put on. Alright, so I'll take this glove off as well. See, my hands are clean. How beautiful. And everything's mixed up. I got a full pan of onions. I'm going to put these on the stove and start cooking them down. Be right back. Okay, the onions are starting to cook down now. They're getting brown. And the directions say when they get to this point where they're soft and starting to brown, to add a teaspoon of sugar, which helps them brown and caramelize, and 2 tablespoons of water, which I pre-portion. And you get the sizzle. So mix that up so it's all evenly distributed. Shake it down. And the heat's on medium-high. I'm going to leave it that way until I see the pan start to dry up a little bit and then turn it down to medium. And they'll cook until they're nice and brown. And I've also got the potatoes in the oven. They're cooking. And so right now we're going to go ahead and get the buns ready, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're going to garlic butter our buns, but before that we're going to take the pork that came with the package, and it says to divide it in 2. So I'm just going to cut it in half like that with my hands, and divide half of the pepper jack cheese that came with the recipe on the inside to make like a stuffed burger. So I'll flatten this out, and I'm going to put half of this cheese in the middle. That's about half. And work the edges around it so you're putting the cheese buried in the middle. Of course, it might not be perfect. That's okay. And shape it like a burger. Like so. All right, and take the other one, do the same thing. Isn't this fun? I love these recipe boxes because you can make recipes and beautiful things that you might not have ever thought of on your own. And every plate is really economical. It runs about $5 a plate, which you can't go to a restaurant and get a plate for $5 anymore, not even for lunch. So it's very economical. It's handy. You don't have to go and find all the ingredients and buy more tomato paste or more cheese than you're going to use for a particular recipe. And it's very fun to do as well. So if you had kids, I assume this would be a fun thing to do with them. So my patties are shaped, and then the recipe also says to put a tablespoon of butter with 2 cloves of garlic in a microwave safe dish. I'm going to microwave this down and then spoon them onto my buns that came, slice them in half. I'm going to garlic butter each sides of these buns and put them cut side up in the oven with the potatoes for the last 5 minutes of cooking time. When my onions are finished, I'm going to transfer them to a plate, gently wipe out the pan, and then I'm going to put these burgers in there to cook as well. So I'll be right back after that. Okay, so I went ahead and melted my butter in the microwave with the garlic and put it on my buns, being very careful not to let the buns touch the raw meat. The raw meat, of course, you know, maybe for new cooks that don't know, needs to be kept separate, and after you touch it, you wash your hands or wear gloves. So the onions are looking beautiful. They're browning down. The potatoes are almost done. So I'm going to take these buns, put them in the tray in the oven with the potatoes, and when the onions are finished, we'll wipe out the pan. We'll put these burgers in there, cook them down, and pretty soon we'll be ready to eat. So let's be back in a minute. Aren't these onions looking delicious? Oh my goodness. Wow, we're back, and these things smell delicious. The potatoes came out really well. They're nice and browned. And I've got leftovers over there. I'm actually very happy with the quantity. We toasted the buns, nice and dark around the edges. I can smell the garlic. And here's our onions. Beautiful. I don't know if you can see it with the light, but they're nice and dark. So I'm going to take some of these and put them on top of the burger. I'm going to have leftovers, and that's a beautiful thing. And then they also sent me these really nice barbecue sauce packets. So I'm going to take one and squeeze it on the top of each burger. And then I'm going to call my husband and eat. He's in the bedroom watching TV. And these are delicious. And it smells wonderful. So I hope you get to try this service. Again, it's called Every Plate. And it's very inexpensive, economical. I really enjoy everything that they've sent to me. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.